hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some freaking money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Jo here with SportsGrid. It's time for Pocket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV, on X, as well as over here on YouTube. We got a loaded day out there on the ice, 10 games out there on the ice today, and we're going to go over each and every single one of those. Now, I just want to let you guys know, please stay tuned to my X as well as my YouTube for those updates in goaltending. And if I'm jumping ship on a team and going to another, yesterday, if you caught it, both on YouTube and on X, I did post with Spencer Knight coming into net for the Chicago Blackhawks. We were going to roll with the Chicago Blackhawks last night for the straight up win. That was coming in at plus 210. We lost value from what it was earlier in the morning, but earlier in the morning, I wouldn't have trusted Chicago to get the win without Spencer Knight in net. Spencer Knight has amazing numbers versus the Kings, and I do think he's a fantastic addition to the Chicago team. He proved it last night, really standing on his head. We're able to get the San Jose Sharks. Remember, we talked about that one. We got their team total over 2.5. Was it a sweat? Absolutely. It was a sweat out there because they needed it. The third goal did come in the shootout. Like I said, I wasn't going to be upset if we didn't have them on the money line and they were able to get that win, because that was a classic Toronto letdown spot. They worked for it to go over the 2.5, and if you had faith in them to get the win, you were able to cash in that regards, but I did not know if they were going to be able to get it done. But good morning to each and every single one of you. I hope you're having a great start to your day. Yeah, if you can hit that like, subscribe, retweet button, that would be so greatly appreciated, and glad you cashed the Senators total and the Blackhawks. It's awesome to hear. And yeah, Spencer Knight, he's definitely going to be a play on for Chicago. So you got that first goal. I like it. Martinez for the first goal. Great work there, Kev. So let's jump into today's slate. Like I said, 10 games on deck. We're going to go over each and every single one of these games, and then we will do the recap at the end of the show. So if you miss anything, make sure you hit that recap. Also, stay tuned for my Cup of Joe that will be posted later today, as well as stay tuned to the SportsGrid app for the Madden Quickie. You want to make sure you get in on that. Now, yesterday it was a hard day out there on the hardwood for me for my Madden Quickie. I was looking at Wake Forest plus the points versus Duke, and we know how that one played out. They weren't able to keep it within the 19.5, and then I did lay the 9.5 with Houston, and Kansas kept it within that number. I knew I was in trouble going into that second half. So you guys, let's talk some hockey. Stay tuned, though, to the SportsGrid app as well as to X and YouTube for that Cup of Joe. The first game here, the Nashville Predators, Boston Bruins. The puck will drop at 7:09 Eastern for this matchup. Now, this one has a total of 5.5, and I do think this one stays under. I'm looking for a 3-2 style win here for the Boston Bruins. The Bruins have so much more to play for. The Nashville Predators, really, their season is completely done, and the Boston Bruins need to get back on track. Now, I do trust their defense to really limit the Predators, a team that really hasn't shown as much offensively all season. Minus 126 here for the Bruins. I know you got to lay the juice, but I'd be willing to lay it here with the Boston Bruins. A Swayman versus Saros in goal here for the Preds. I'm looking for this to be a game where the Bruins do, coming off that loss to the Wild, 1-0, find a way to get things done. Now, this is a hard scheduling spot. They're home off 2 road games, and then they've got 2 road games on the road loading, the Carolina Hurricanes on Thursday and the Lightning on Saturday. But this team cannot afford another loss. They're sitting 6th in the Atlantic, and they desperately want to get a wild card spot here. So look for the Boston Bruins to really step up here on home ice and be able to get the win. So I'll take them at minus 126. You also look at the Predators. They would love to spoil Boston's hopes of getting a wild card spot, but this team has struggled in Boston, only winning 3 of the last 10. They won the last meeting back in October, and they got the shutout win 4-0, but look for Boston to have that revenge. The Preds lost their last 2 games. They're off the shutout loss to the Rangers on Sunday, not even able to put up a single goal in that one, and I think they struggled to put up another goal in this. This is game 3 on the road as well. They're home on Thursday versus the Kraken. So It's going to be a lower scoring game, in my opinion. The last 5 games have stayed under that total, with the Boston Bruins getting the win. The Columbus Blue Jackets then take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now the puck will drop right after the other one here at 7:10 Eastern. The Columbus Blue Jackets are very interesting tonight. We know the Tampa Bay Lightning with Andrei Vasilevskiy have been fire in their games, but we're not going to see Andrei Vasilevskiy tonight. We do have Johansson confirmed in goal. Johnson confirmed in goal. He's 6-5-1 with a 3.24 goals against average and an 8.92 save percentage. And I'm looking for Columbus. I know the inconsistencies out there on the road. I know they've been hard to trust on the road, as they haven't been as offensive as we've seen at home, but I like what we've seen out of Columbus, especially as of late. They're off of 4 wins. They got that stadium win versus the Red Wings, 5-3. This is the first game of a really hard road trip out here. The Panthers on Thursday, the Rangers on Sunday, the Devils on Tuesday. So they need to bring it in this game. Sitting 4th in the Metro currently, Elvis expected in goal. Now, Tampa's on the second night of a back-to-back. They faced Florida last night. We know how that game went. They lost that game to Florida. We're only able to record 1 goal in that one, sitting 3rd in the Atlantic. The last time these teams matched up, we did see Tampa get a 5-3 win. I'm looking for this one to be where Columbus can get those goals. Now, there's no denying what Tampa can do, and I do think they're going to score on Elvis. So I'm looking at the over 6.5. That's coming in at -128. If you just want to look at a first period bet here, I would look at the first period over 1.5 and then just get out of this game, because, it's tricky here. I'm tempted to hit on the Columbus Blue Jackets for the full game on the money line. They're not giving me enough value right now. I do think, though, looking first period money line for the Columbus Blue Jackets to come out nice and strong, to get that upset first period win in a 2-1 style first period is a strong way to go. It's coming in at +120. So I'm going to take a shot there. We know the playmakers here for the Tampa Bay Lightning are so elite. Nikita Kucherov for the anytime goal is sitting right around that +140 mark. You got Braden Point here for his power play point. That power play is absolutely deadly. So Columbus will be scored on. Elvis will be scored on, but I think Columbus can answer back and pushes over the 6.5. Give me Columbus first period on that money line and at +120 and the over 6.5. And yeah, we're going to roll with the Red Wings as home dogs tonight. So we're going to get into that game in just a couple secs. First, we're going to talk about Calgary versus the Philadelphia Flyers. So looking at this matchup here, Calgary desperately needs a win. We have a couple of revenge angles to look at for this one, which is going to be a lot of fun. I've got a lot of kind of like line combos, player props, parlays that I'm going to throw together during the show. So it's going to be a good day. I can feel it. It's a good day on the ice, you guys. First, Calgary needs this win. Calgary cannot afford another loss. They've lost their last 3. They did get that game to overtime, picking up a point versus the Carolina Hurricanes on Sunday, but they were shut out the previous 2 games. They only put up 1 goal in that loss. Here versus the Flyers and versus Urgent, I'm looking for Calgary to turn it back on to be able to light the lamp in this game. Now, Dustin Wolf is expected in goal here for the Calgary Flames, and there's talks around if Dan Vladar is on the trade block here, if we're going to see him moving. It'll be interesting to see what Calgary does, but I don't know who would want Dan Vladar, and that's no knock against Dan Vladar. He had a fantastic game his last game out, but he's not as solid as I would like to see him. So Calgary should be desperate for this win. They're sitting 4th in the Pacific. We know they're battling it out with the Vancouver Canucks for a wild card spot. 6th in the Metro here for the Flyers. Now the Flyers are coming off a win. That was a huge win for them in the shootout versus the Winnipeg Jets. I was really shocked with what we saw in that game. Now remember, we took the Winnipeg Jets first period puck line. We were able to cash that, but for the Flyers to end up coming back and getting the win 2-1, it was impressive on Saturday night. Now this is them home off 2 games out there on the road. Both of those games went to overtime. So that is concerning with both of those games going to overtime. Tired legs out there for the Flyers. I do think we'll see Calgary capitalize on that. So I'm going to take Calgary straight up on the money line. You're getting Calgary currently at +126 on the money line. It is minus 152 for the Flyers if you want to fade the Calgary Flames, but I won't. And the total sitting at 5.5. Now I'm going to take Calgary money line, but I'm also going to take them over 2.5 goals. I expect 3 goals at least out of the Calgary Flames at minus 122. Now, Calgary's won 8 of the last 11 meetings versus the Flyers, so they have had that recency of being able to get the wins versus them. We're going to look at a couple players. We're going to look at those revenge angles, so we know those trades went down. Kuzmenko left Calgary to go to the Flyers. Look at Kuzmenko here to score on Dustin Wolf. I do think he gets that goal. Kuzmenko for the Flyers coming in at plus 280. Now, if you're looking at who was on the Flyers and who will be scoring here on Urgent, you got to look at Morgan Frost for the anytime goal. It's coming in at plus 450. And Farabee for the anytime goal at plus 400. So you can look at all 3 players for their anytime goal, but you can also look to parlay all 3 of them for a point. Now, I had my ticket up here and now I can't see it. Maybe I didn't get that in time before the show. Let's just build that here because somehow I lost it. I don't know what I did. Let's look at these points here. So Kuzmenko is minus 102 for the point tonight. You have Frost coming in at, oh, this is why. Okay, so there's Frost at plus 140. You can't get Farabee for the point. You can only take Kuzmenko and Morgan Frost for the point. That's coming in at plus 330. So I love it. Look for Morgan Frost to come out nice and strong. Look for Kuzmenko to come out nice and strong. Both of them to get a point. So you're taking these guys for the point where Kuzmenko is minus 102. Frost is plus 140. And then if they both get a point parlay together, it's coming in at plus 331. So I love it. I really do think both have the ability to score on their former teams or at least get that assist. So again, Morgan Frost for the point, Kuzmenko for the point, parlay together is plus 330. And then Morgan Frost for a goal at plus 450. Farabee for a shot for a goal as well. I'm not putting Farabee in the points because FanDuel isn't offering it, but Farabee for the point at plus 400 and for the goal at plus 400 and Kuzmenko for the goal at plus 280. But should be a nice revenge angle for all 3 of these players versus their former team. Now, Konecki has been playing strong for the Flyers. And Nazem Kadri has been getting those shots out on the road. He did get a goal in that last game, but I don't trust Nazem Kadri enough. Jonathan Huberdeau is your main goal scorer out there on the road. He's got 44 points, so this would be 40.45 tonight if he's able to get another one. And we're seeing Nazem Kadri with 44 points as well, so both coming up to 45 points tonight. Got to lean on the Calgary Flames to be able to get it done. That is for sure. Joe, Kraken in regulation. Take Brandon Montour. I actually really like Brandon Montour for that anytime goal tonight. Joe, let us know what you are getting in value for that. And then Morgan Frost, anytime goal on point on parlay. Yeah, parlay point, definitely a really strong way to look for Morgan Frost in that game tonight. You know it's going to get scrappy. And looking at the rookie here, and I don't blame you. He should be able to come out nice and strong. We know he's been on fire. His anytime goal is coming in for Michikov at plus 250. So I do think it is a great way to go. I like where you guys are going with those bets. Let's look at Carolina versus Detroit. You guys already threw out the Red Wings on the money line, and that's exactly where I'm going. Carolina has been way too inconsistent for me on the road. They're minus 220 favorite. We're getting the Red Wings here at plus 180 on the money line. A home dog plus 180. It makes me want to sing, you guys. It's just beautiful value here that we're getting for the Red Wings. Now, this total sitting at 6.5. It is juiced to the under at minus 124. I think we stay under that total. I just don't trust the Carolina Hurricanes to put up a ton of goals. We've seen the last 6 matchups between these teams stay under that total. I do think it's a hard battle out here. It's not going to be easy for the Red Wings to win, but it is a game that they can win. The home team's won for the last 5 meetings, and the Red Wings need this win. They can't take a loss because while they're sitting 4th in the Atlantic, they're only 3 points ahead of the 7th place Montreal Canadiens. So they need these wins if they hope to make the playoffs. And they've lost their last 2. They need to get back on track. We do see the Canes off that overtime win versus Calgary 2-1 on Sunday. This is a one-off road game for them as well. I hate teams in these one-off road games. They're home on Thursday versus the Boston Bruins. They're sitting second in the Metro here with 72 points, 12 points behind the Washington Capitals. So the Caps have a nice big breathing room there for that first spot in the Metro. And the Canes, I don't think they'll catch them, and they're going to just sit nicely in the second. Now, looking at goal scorers, while I like an under, I do think DeBrincat you got to look at for goal number 30 tonight here for the Red Wings. He's been absolute fire. He has 8 goals and 6 assists in the last 10 games for Detroit. So looking at DeBrincat to come out nice and strong, 53 points on the season, 29 goals and 24 assists. So again, goal number 30 tonight at plus 200 for DeBrincat. We're also looking at Aho for point number 60. The problem with Aho for point number 60, unless you think it comes on the power play, and I think this is going to be a lower scoring game, so I don't want to take Aho for 2 points, but point number 60 is minus 240. He has the 59 points on the season. So just remember, Aho is in watch for point number 60 tonight. I'm not going to bet it. Mikko Rantanen does have 70 points, 27 goals, and 43 assists. And then Lucas Raymond, 22 goals and 41 assists in 60 games. So we do have playmakers that really have been stepping up, but lower scoring game here. I just can't get behind it. So, yeah, Michkov should be. And Michkov and Tippett, I really do think those are a nice combo there for their point prop tonight. That would be a nice 2-player parlay on those lines. So Flames have played some tough teams. Yeah, they have been playing some tough teams. You're still going to roll with the Flyers, and I don't blame you. The Flyers have looked better as of late than Calgary has. Aho hurt your soul. Yeah, Aho hurt my soul in that last game versus Calgary where he got that goal in overtime. That really hurt. So lost 2K, upset, losing $10. And here I get upset. Losing $10. We always get upset no matter what we lose. Joe coming in with Brandon Montour plus 500 anytime goal. Great. I think that's great value. I love Brandon Montour, what he brings to the Seattle Kraken. I'm just hoping that he is able to get that done for you, Joe. And then the Kraken can just put up 2 goals, even if they win. 2 goals. You guys know I love taking the Kraken's team total under that 2.5. Let's jump into first the Sharks and the Buffalo Sabres. We'll get talking all of these games, but the Sharks versus the Sabres here, you guys. Both of these teams played last night. Both of these teams went to overtime. The Sharks went to that shootout, getting the win over the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-2, cashing our over 2.5 goals for the Sharks, making us sweat. If you took the money line, congratulations for having that faith. We did see a beautiful game out of them out there. Their defense showed up. Offensively, they showed up. I was pretty impressed with the San Jose Sharks. So now they were on the road. Now they've got to come here, traveled to Buffalo to take on a Buffalo team that played Montreal here. Or did they play Montreal last night? Let me just double check that, you guys. Where did Buffalo play last night? I was pretty sure. Yeah, they were in Montreal last night. So Buffalo had to travel back home for this one. So there's no like home on home back-to-back advantage here for Buffalo. They were in Montreal. The San Jose Sharks last night were in Toronto. So both of these teams have had to travel to Buffalo here. The Sharks are a huge dog in this one. Again, plus 180. Why did the Buffalo Sabres deserve to be a minus 220 favorite? Now, this one has a total of 6.5, minus 106 to the over, minus 114 to the under. Vanacek versus James Reimer. Now, with both of these teams on that second night of a back-to-back, we did see a longer day out there for the Sharks as they had to go to overtime in that one. The Sabres have owned this matchup. The Sharks have gone 1-4 in the last 5 meetings in Buffalo, 8-20 in the last 28 meetings overall. And then we've seen the Sabres cover the puck line in 8 of the last 10 meetings versus the Sharks. I am unsettled here with taking the Sabres on the puck line. I don't want to do it. I'm not loving taking the Sharks. If I want to take the Sharks, you guys, it would be Sharks money line or nothing because I'm going to play the number. The Sabres shouldn't deserve to be that big of a favorite. But what I'm going to look at here is I think the best way to take it is to go against what the initial thoughts are. We've got 2 offenses that should be able to score on 2 bad defenses, right? But I can't see it happening tonight. I think we've got that lower scoring game. I think this game is a little bit slower out there on the ice. These teams sitting both at the bottom of their divisions, 8th in the Pacific for the Sharks, 8th in the Atlantic for the Sabres. I'm going to take this one under 6.5 goals. And I know how easily this one could get out of hand, be pure pond hockey out there, but I don't think it will be at the end of the day, because when we look at the goaltending matchup here, Vanacek versus James Reimer, and we look at how these goaltenders have done, James Reimer versus the Sharks and Vanacek versus the Sabres, they actually have had really solid numbers, even when they've been peppered with those shots. So this is a game where I'd want to play the shots on goal props for both of these teams and the goaltenders save shots on goal, because I think both are going to be able to stand nice and tall between the pipes. So there is no goalie props out as of yet. We can look at that shot market, you guys. So looking at 3+ shots for any of these players, Tage Thompson, it's too highly juiced. Celebrini, too highly juiced. Toffoli, you can get for 3+ shots on goal at -115. I like that. You can also get Rasmus Dahlin here of the Sabres for 3+ shots at +110. Let's look at the 4+ shots. That's where we're going to get value for Tage Thompson. 4+ shots for Tage Thompson at +120, and Celebrini for 4+ at +140. So I do think that comes into play today. Look for those shots. Look for goaltending, though, to get those block shots. When those goalie props are out, I will post on X as well as here on YouTube, where I'm going to go with the goalie props between Vanacek and James Reimer, who I'm liking more so out there on the ice. I do think both of these teams will accumulate those shots on goal tonight. So it's going to be really interesting to see if the goaltenders can have solid nights, keep this under that number, but I do think that they can. So playing a little bit of football out there, European football. Good luck with those. So let me know how those turn out tomorrow for sure. Toronto, the only game left I had to win. Oh, I hate to hear that. That is so terrible. It's Toronto always lets you down in those games that they should win. And this is why I think Toronto fans have such a hard time supporting their team. We know how corporate it is in the lower bowl, and players really get upset that there's not more noise there. But Toronto doesn't win these games that they're supposed to. Yeah, and I do think the Sharks +1.5. Right? You're getting the Sharks +1.5 at -140. The Sharks, for me, it's you play the Sharks or you don't play it at all. You can't lay -220 on the Sabres. You can't trust the Sabres to cover a puck line -1.5 at +114. The Sharks +1.5 is -140. Do I love the juice? No. But I do love the +180 straight up on the money line. It's worth it to me to put a tiny bit of a sprinkle on the Sharks tonight, just playing that number. Okay. The Winnipeg Jets and the New York Islanders, I don't think you can say enough here about how much we just have to bet the Jets, right? Like, you look at this matchup, and we have a goaltender coming in here for the Isles, Skarek, I believe you pronounce his name. This will be his second NHL start, and he had a 3.95 goals against average in that last one at .872 save percentage. His AHL record is 3.30 goals against average and .892 save percentage versus the Winnipeg Jets and Connor Hellebuck. He's going to be lit the heck up tonight. We've got the best power play in the league versus the worst power play in the league. We've got a strong kill versus a weak kill. It's the Winnipeg Jets all day, but now it's an issue of how to get some value. Now, the Winnipeg Jets did open as a -150 something favorite. They're now -192 favorite. I don't care. That puck line looks great. -1.5 on the puck line at +130. Sign me up all day over the New York Islanders. And I know the Isles have played in some great games. They just got shut out by the New York Rangers on Monday, 4-0 with Sorokin. We're talking Sorokin in that. So I don't see this young kid coming out and making a huge impact for the Isles tonight. The Isles do take limited penalties, but I do think the opportunities on the power play will be there for the Winnipeg Jets. This team has lost their last two. They're going to be frustrated. That last game on Saturday, they've been sitting on this 2-1 loss on Saturday in shootout. So to the Flyers. They won that first period. They came out strong, and they just let that game go. They shot themselves in the foot. So the last time these teams matched up was back on the 7th of February, 4-3 win by the Winnipeg Jets. This time, I think they destroy the Islanders. They're at the Devils on Friday, at the Carolina Hurricanes on Saturday, and this is the second night of a back-to-back for the Isles. They're at the Sharks Saturday and at the Ducks on Sunday. So 7th in the Metro, there's no way they're getting things done. Give me the Jets in reg. You take the Jets in regulation minus 125. Give me the Jets first period puck line laying a half goal plus 138. Now, I do think you can play them over 3.5 goals. That's coming in at plus 108. And then let's have some fun with these players, okay? We're going to look at some players looking to hit some milestones who I freaking trust, especially on that power play. So we've got Kyle Connor for 0.75 tonight. He's got 31 goals and 43 assists. I'll take him for the power play point. Power play point at plus 200. We have Mark Scheifele for goal number 35 tonight, coming in at plus 150. He has 34 goals, 33 assists for 67 points. And then we have Josh Morrissey for an assist tonight, assist number 40 at minus 122. So you got to lay juice on Josh Morrissey for that assist spot. 39 assists on the season, 8 goals and 47 points. So I'm going to look at all three of those props separately. Again, that's Kyle Connor for point number 75. On the power play, I'll take it at plus 200. I'm going to look at Mark Scheifele for goal number 35. That's coming in at plus 150. And Josh Morrissey for assist number 40 at minus 122. But then I'm going to take Kyle Connor for a point, Mark Scheifele for a point, Josh Morrissey for a point. Parlayed together, it's getting us at plus 121. It seems great. Now, you can take the power play points. I love the power play points. They're all on that top power play unit together. So Kyle Connor is getting a power play point. Mark Scheifele or Josh Morrissey is getting the assist or the goal on the opposite. So the power play point for all three of them, you can't parlay it together. I wanted to parlay it together, but you're getting basically over 2-1. Kyle Connor is the shortest odds at plus 200. You're getting plus 300s for the other two. It definitely is a day where we can hit at least two of these guys on the power play. I know the Isles take limited power plays or penalties, but the opportunities that the Jets get after that last loss, they are going to absolutely capitalize out here. So I'm looking for a big day out of them in this one. Every time the Leafs lose, the Islanders win. Oh, that's interesting. Look, I got to take the Jets in regulation. Joe, you're getting the Jets in reg at minus 118. Yeah, nice look for that one as well. Kyle Connor, McDavid, and Konecki anytime goal. Blake, that is great. I love Kyle Connor tonight. You know, Connor McDavid wants to step up versus the Anaheim Ducks, and Travis Konecki there of the Flyers should have a good day. Okay, let's move on to the New Jersey Devils and the Dallas Stars. The New Jersey Devils rolling in as a dog on the road. Now we know Jack Hughes is out of the lineup with injury. Dallas coming in at minus 164 on the money line. That's too overpriced for the Dallas Stars. Jake Ottinger expected to hit the pipes for them today. And then Jacob Markstrom looking for a bounce back. He played that last game versus Vegas and he didn't look great. I'm looking for Jacob Markstrom to really stand on his head. And if he can do so, I think the Devils have every opportunity of getting the win. I'm going to play the number here. I love the Devils at the price we're getting at plus 136. This one has a total of 5.5, minus 130 to the over and minus 106 to the under. I can see this one staying under that total. We are starting to lose value on the Devils on that money line. They were 10 points higher. They were plus 146 right before the show kicked off. Now plus 136 as money starts to come in. But when we look at these teams versus each other, the underdog has won 5 of the last 6. The road teams won the last 8. So road ice has been a huge advantage for these teams. And we look at Dallas and we look at how they've allowed these defensemen to really shoot from the blue line as of late, and it's hard to trust them. I do think we could see a player like Dougie Hamilton really step up, be able to light the lamp on the back of Jake Ottinger's net. We've seen the Dallas Stars win their last 2. Sunday, they won that one over the St. Louis Blues. 6-3 at home. They got the Flames on deck on Thursday. They're sitting second in the Central. And the last time they faced up versus each other, just late February there, we did see Dallas get that 4-2 win. Look for that revenge angle here for the New Jersey Devils in a quick turnaround. They've lost their last 5 road games. So I understand the price. They will be home on Friday to take on the Winnipeg Jets. They can't take another loss here. They are off that loss to the Vegas Golden Knights. So without Jack Hughes in the lineup, we're going to need support from the blue line. Look at Dougie Hamilton for the goal and look at the New Jersey Devils to get the win with that fantastic, and I mean fantastic plus money, even at plus 136 versus a plus 146 it was earlier. Okay, the Pittsburgh Penguins now take on the Colorado Avalanche. I love seeing Sidney Crosby and Nathan MacKinnon out there on the ice together. Can we please get a trade where Sid goes to Colorado? I want to see Sidney Crosby be able to make a push for another cup in his career. I don't want to see him sitting here in Pittsburgh, a team that is never going to make it and before he retires. So let's make a push. Let's make a trade. Call up the coaches, you guys. I am ready for this trade to go down before Friday. I'm not sure it will, though. I think Sidney Crosby's pretty happy just cruising in Pittsburgh. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if it happens. If it happens, I'm going to be grinning from ear to ear, and Colorado is going to be absolutely on fire. I do think they've got another big move happening before the trade deadline. They are a huge favorite at minus 280 here today versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. Penguins rolling in at plus 225. Now, I do think there's players we can look at for the Penguins because of the trade deadline. Players wanting to be moved, Raquel, Carlson. We're going to hit on those players. Let's first talk the side of this. Total 6.5. 6.5 minus 110 to the either side of it. And I do think those goals are coming out of Colorado. Their team total, though, is too high. Over 3.5 goals is juiced at minus 156. We've seen between these two, the underdog cover the puck line in 8 of the last 9 games between these two teams, with the last game not being the case, with Colorado getting the win 6-2 in December. I struggle to take the Pittsburgh Penguins plus 1.5. I don't know if I can trust them to be able to get it done, but I'm not finding a way to bet Colorado with the prices that we're getting here where I'm feeling confident. So you guys, I will stay off a side. I will stay off a total, but I got some players that I do have circled for you guys. Raquel is definitely high interest here for anyone looking to pick up a player. He has 52 points, 28 goals in 62 games. So look for Raquel to really come out firing in this game tonight. And then Carlson. Carlson would clear up its 10 million cap space for the Penguins if they trade him away. So I do think Carlson, we're going to see the best out of him tonight. I would look at both of those guys for their point parlay together. And then Sidney Crosby. I think Sidney Crosby shows up nice and big versus Nathan MacKinnon, but it's Nathan MacKinnon I want to play on. Nathan MacKinnon for the point, you don't have any value at all. Nathan MacKinnon for 2+ points, you still got to lay the juice, which is horrendous. But the power play point here for Nathan MacKinnon coming in at plus 120. These two teams, like the Colorado Avalanche, that power play is starting to convert at a little bit higher percentage. They're off that win on Friday versus the Wild, 5-2. We could see a slower start because it's now sitting here Tuesday. They've had a couple days of rest. The Pittsburgh Penguins did play on Sunday. Overtime loss to the Leafs. We saw those goals coming in. So I could see this one if the Penguins get up in the first. It would be a live betting opportunity for me for Colorado because I do think they get the win at the end of the day. You just don't have the price. So ultimately, in the best world, we could get the Penguins first period for that first goal in the first period on Mackenzie Blackwood. It will be really hard. And then after they get that first goal coming back in on Colorado at a better price on that money line. I don't know if it's going to drop enough unless we see the Pittsburgh Penguins score 2 goals though. So this is definitely one you want to watch, you want to live watch and see where we're going to go. Nathan MacKinnon though, 23 goals and 91 points. 91 points in 63 games. Now, could Nathan MacKinnon come out here and get 3 points? That's something I hadn't considered, but the more and more I think about it, Nathan MacKinnon for 3 points probably is your best way to look at him other than the power play point tonight. So 3+ points for Nathan MacKinnon at plus 285. The goals that are going to be scored are going to involve that top line, that top power play. Nathan MacKinnon is on both of those. So I will take Nate Dogg at 3+ points tonight at plus 285 for a little bit of a sprinkle. I think he can get there. I need to bet that as soon as we are done talking here. Okay. We ready to move on to the next game? I think we talked that one out. We have 2 games left to talk, you guys, and then we'll jump into that recap. The Anaheim Ducks taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Now, thankfully for the Ducks, the Edmonton Oilers did finally break that losing streak, getting the win over the Carolina Hurricanes 3-1 after losing 5 straight. Now, that was the first time they'd lost 5 straight since the 2021-2022 season. So Edmonton definitely was having so many struggles, especially defensively out there. Now they're back home. They're back home off this road trip. The last time they were playing on their home ice was February 7th, you guys. And then they will face Montreal here on Thursday. So they're sitting second in the Pacific. They won the last game versus the Ducks in a lower scoring game where they weren't able to cover that puck line. It was a 3-2 win by the Edmonton Oilers back in January. First night of a back-to-back here for the Ducks. They're off a loss to the Blackhawks 6-3 at home on Saturday. They have Vancouver on deck tomorrow, sitting 6th in the Pacific. I still don't trust Edmonton's defense. I think the Ducks can put up some goals. If you're willing to take the Ducks team total over 2.5 goals, you're getting great plus money at plus 140. Now, this team has been getting those high danger shots, more so than I expected out of them. So look for those high danger shots to be coming in. If Pickard isn't on his A game, we will see the Ducks convert. So I think it's worth a look here at the Ducks over 2.5 goals, but it's got to be a play on Edmonton. Edmonton needs to get so solid. They're 18-10-2 at home on the season, but that puck line is only 9-21. When they win, they don't win it big at home. We've seen the Ducks 21-9 on the road on the puck line. Can I trust that puck line here? No, I absolutely can't trust the Ducks on the puck line here versus Edmonton because of how many games they lost. Yes, they got back on track in that last game, but I still think we see Edmonton come out and blanket Gibson in goal tonight. Those shots are going to be absolutely flying. We're going to see a fast-paced, high offensive game out of Edmonton right from the get-go. So give me the first period over 1.5 goals at minus 158. Again, not bettable unless you're throwing that into some sort of parlay. But Edmonton first period puck line, laying 0.5 goal on the first period is coming in at minus 106. I do think they win this, even if the Ducks get 1 goal in the first period because Pickard has that little bit of unluckiness and puck luck here for the Ducks. That 2-1 win for the first period, I do think we can see Edmonton get a couple goals in the first. Now, let me just see something. One bet I do like to look at when I like the over 1.5, but I'm not as confident in both teams scoring, is a team total in that first half. So Edmonton has a team total. There we go. That is exactly what I want to bet here, you guys. Over 1.5 goals for Edmonton in the first period is coming in at plus 164. I do think they come out in that first period and put up 2 goals themselves. They're going to have to hit the Ducks fast. They want to have that confidence here coming back home. So give me the Edmonton Oilers over 1.5 goals in the first period. We found the plus money I was so hungry to find today. So I'm so glad we do this show daily because when I'm talking out these bets with you guys, I am remembering stuff that I wouldn't have remembered when you're first looking at your book and you're looking at so many different angles you can go with these games because we know there's 100 different ways to bet one single game, and it's trying to narrow down exactly where you want to go and where you're going to find that plus money. So Edmonton, first period, over 1.5 goals coming in at plus 164. I can't believe they're giving us that. That is a little confusing. The Ducks are 0-4 in the last 4 meetings in Edmonton. They're also 1-8 in the last 9 meetings overall, and these games have trended highly to that over. 6-2 in the last 8 in Edmonton to the over, 13-3 in the last 16 meetings to the over overall. You guys, I'm super excited for this bet. Come on, Connor McDavid, do not let me down. Leon Draisaitl, we know how hot Leon Draisaitl has been. Leon Draisaitl for the goal tonight. Connor McDavid for his assist probably. Let me just look at their points, you guys. I hadn't been able to get to those points tonight for these guys because we just got so many games on track. I knew I was going to be betting them because they're against them. So Leon Draisaitl has 90 points, 44 goals. Look for goal number 45 tonight, 46 assists. Connor McDavid has 75 points, 22 goals, 53 assists. I would say Connor McDavid can even get 2 assists tonight. Leon Draisaitl is going to get goal number 45. And then when we look further down the list, who's coming up against any nice numbers here? You know, Zach Hyman for point number 35 tonight, definitely in the cards. Evan Bouchard, I do like for a point as well as Ryan Nugent Hopkins. Corey Perry, though, interesting. 21 points, 13 goals, 8 assists. Look for Corey Perry to show up big in this one tonight. And last but not least, I know Joe out there has been waiting for me to talk about his Seattle Kraken. The Kraken got an impressive win in their last game out versus the Vancouver Canucks. They went over their team total of 2.5, and I had the under. You guys know that. That's a play for me. I look at Seattle, and right away it's under 2.5 goals because this team, even in their wins, like we saw that win versus Florida, was a 2-1 win. They've been struggling to light the lamp. They've been playing decently defensively. Joey Decord in goal. Gustafson tonight for the Minnesota Wild. So I do think if you think that we'll see Seattle win, they're minus 125 here on the money line. I think it stays under the 5.5. The under 5.5 coming in at minus 120. And I think it's because we see more of a 2-1 style win here for either of these teams. So we're looking at a Kraken's team total under 2.5 goals at plus 126. I know that they just put up 6 goals on Vancouver. They've got a road trip loading on Thursday. The Predators, and then the Flyers, and then the Capitals. And that Capitals and Flyers game, the Flyers are on Saturday, Capitals are on Sunday. So back-to-back road games out there over the weekend. The Kraken have struggled to record wins in a row. So that's another thing to look at. And then Gustafson in goal here for the Wild. I don't love this game, you guys. I think it's lower scoring. The Kraken's team total under 2.5 is going to get you at plus 126. But Joe threw out Brandon Montour for that anytime goal. And Brandon Montour has been a strong suit for this team. And I can see it coming to fruition that he is able to score from that blue line tonight. He has a strong offensive defenseman out there on the ice. Yeah, the Wild on the road. You're right. The Wild have a great road record. They're 21-9-3 on the road this season. This team's still dealing with injuries. We still have Hartman suspended out there. So they need to really come out nice and strong. They will lock down on the defensive side of things, but they got that win over the Bruins on Sunday, 1-0. And I could see it being that style of game out here again, especially with the Kraken's issues to score. So the Kraken under 2.5. plus 126, the game under 5.5 goals. And, you're getting value on the Wild here. I just don't love this line. It looks a little fishy. It was like when Utah was rolling strong and they were being made the favorite over teams like the Devils. We did take the Devils. We went against them, but so hard to go against some of these lines sometimes. Sometimes it feels like a trap. So, you guys, it is time for that recap. Man, 10 games on deck today. Plenty of opportunities to make some money. I really do think looking at those parlays over there with the Jets is probably one of my favorite things. And then the Edmonton Oilers first period on that team total over 1.5 goals. It just seems like an absolute gift for us today. I also think there's those players that you look at for the revenge, Morgan Frost, Farabee versus the Flyers, and then Kuzmenko versus Calgary. So you're going to see some interesting games out there on the ice, but let's get to that recap. I'll try to get over everything as quick as possible, send you guys on your day. For those of you just joining me, make sure you do join me daily at noon Eastern here on SportsGrid TV on X as well as on YouTube. So let's jump straight into it. The Nashville Predators versus the Boston Bruins. I do think this is a lower scoring game. Under 5.5, and the Bruins get the win. We're laying minus 126 on the money line for the Bruins, and that is the way I'm going to go. I trust this team. They're playing for more right now than the Nashville Predators are. They're looking so badly to make the playoffs. The Columbus Blue Jackets and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa coming off the loss to Florida last night, second night of a back-to-back, and we don't have Andrei Vasilevskiy in net. So I'm looking for Columbus to make some waves in this one. I'm going to take them first period on the money line at plus 120. I do think this team can roll in with some momentum, hit up, backup goaltending here for Tampa right away. And then I'm going to look at this one to go over 6.5. I'm expecting the goals out of both of these teams. Looking at Tampa, Braden Point for the power play point, Nikita Kucherov for the anytime goal, Adam Fantilli here for the Columbus Blue Jackets for his goal as well. The Calgary Flames and the Philadelphia Flyers, again, we've got that revenge angle. We're getting Calgary, who is desperate for a win here with plus money on the road. I'll take Calgary at plus 126, and I do think they put up 3 goals here on Urgent. I'll take their team total over 2.5 goals at minus 122. I think you look at Morgan Frost of Calgary and then Kuzmenko of the Flyers, both for a point parlayed together. I love it tonight. That's coming in at plus 330. Now, Morgan Frost for the goal tonight is plus 450. Farabee, revenge angle as well against his former team for a goal tonight at plus 400. And then Kuzmenko for the goal tonight at plus 280. I think 2 of those guys will hit their goals tonight. This should be a higher scoring game between these teams. Travis Konecki, you guys have thrown off, and Kichkov coming out as well. Carolina versus Detroit, I am going to look at the Detroit Red Wings here on the money line. I love a home dog, especially against an inconsistent Carolina Hurricanes team. I think this one stays under that total. I'm going to look at DeBrincat, though, for the goal. Goal number 30 for DeBrincat tonight at plus 200. Now, Sebastian Aho is on point number 60. Watch, it's way too juicy, though, at minus 240, you guys. And DeBrincat's just been rolling so hot, even though I'm liking an under. You can't deny him. 8 goals, 6 assists in the last 10 games. The San Jose Sharks and the Buffalo Sabres, if I had to play a side, this is playing the number, taking the Sharks with the plus money. The Sabres don't deserve to be this big of a favorite here. Both of these teams coming off of overtime last night. And yes, the Sharks went to shootout last night, but the Sabres were in Montreal, so they had to travel home as well. I think this one stays under the 6.5 at minus 114. Both goalies are strong versus the opponents, and I know it's the opposite of what you originally look at for this game, which is why I love it even more. The Winnipeg Jets versus the New York Islanders. Sign me up for the Jets big time in this one. Backup goaltender making a second start here for the Isles, and Connor Hellebuck. Best power play in the league versus the worst power play. Strong kill versus a weak kill. It's the Winnipeg Jets all day long. Give me the Jets in reg at minus 125. Jets first period puck line minus 105 at minus a half a point at plus 138. You look at this Jets team, they're coming off that loss in a shootout to the Flyers. They're going to be hungry. Looking at the points tonight, where we're going to go, and those goals and those assists. Kyle Connor for point number 75. I will take it on the power play, that coming in at plus 200. Mark Scheifele for the goal number 35 tonight at plus 150. And Josh Morrissey for the assist. That will be assist number 40 at minus 122. Again, I like all three of these guys for a power play point tonight. If your book will allow you to parlay it together, hell yeah, do that. Regulate on FanDuel, you can take all three for their point. So that's Kyle Connor for a point, Mark Scheifele for a point, and Josh Morrissey for a point. That's coming in at plus 121. So we're still getting value with all three for the point. Top power play unit for them there. We know the Isles take limited penalties, but the Jets will capitalize. The New Jersey Devils and the Dallas Stars. Give me the Devils straight up on the money line at plus 136 now. It's dropped by 10 points, but I do think they're going to be strong even without Jack Hughes in the lineup. Look for Dougie Hamilton to get that anytime goal at plus 550. Dallas has just allowed way too many shots from the blue line for my liking in this one, and I'm expecting that bounce back out of Jacob Markstrom when he didn't look solid in his return versus Vegas. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Colorado Avalanche. I can't find a way to bet this one where I'm comfortable with either the juice I have to lay or the position. Colorado's team total over 3.5 is too juiced at minus 156. The Penguins, the underdog, has covered the puck line in 8 of the last 9 matchups between these two. The last game excluded when the Avs won 6-2, but I can't trust the Penguins to keep it tight, but I don't want to go against that trend. So I'm going to stay off. I do think if the Penguins can come out, because we haven't seen the Avs on the ice for a couple of days, that if the Penguins come out first, scoring first, I want to come back in on Colorado when we're getting a better price. Ultimately, I'd love to see the Penguins go up by 2 goals and us get plus money on Colorado. I will look at Nathan MacKinnon for the power play point at plus 120, and then 3+ points for Nathan MacKinnon. Hell yeah, sign me up at plus 285. 23 goals, 91 points in 61 games. Nathan MacKinnon versus the defense here of the Penguins should be able to step up nice and big. Now, if you're looking for Penguin bets, Raquel, we know, is on the chopping block for this trade deadline coming up, as well as Erik Karlsson. I'd look at their points parlayed together, as well as Sidney Crosby. Sid versus Nathan MacKinnon. Can we get a goal out of Sid? We absolutely could. The Edmonton Oilers versus the Anaheim Ducks. Oilers at home in this one, returning from that road trip, which they fell flat for the majority of those games. They took a win versus the Canes in that last one. I do think the Ducks will score on Pickard here. The Ducks team total over 2.5, worth a little bit of money here at plus 140, but I think the main plays here are on Edmonton. The first period over 1.5 goals, we can't bet. It's minus 158, but since sitting here with you guys, we got Edmonton first period over 1.5 goals at plus 164. I got to put that bet in as soon as we are done. It's one of my favorite bets of the whole freaking day. Edmonton puck line laying 0.5 goals minus 106 if you just want to go that way. And then the for the first period. And then for the Minnesota Wild and the Seattle Kraken, I do think this one stays under the total of 5.5. Look for defense to come play between these two teams. I know the Kraken lit that lamp so beautifully versus Vancouver in the last game out, costing me some money out of my wallet, but I do think the Kraken stay under the 2.5 goals. Jo threw out Brandon Montour for the anytime goal, and I do think he is a solid look here for the Seattle Kraken, but in a lower scoring game, it's hard to take a lot of plays, and I don't love this game. So that is the recap, you guys, and you want top players to get a point tonight at the end of the recap. Whew. Okay, top players to get a point tonight. We can definitely go there. So top players to get a point. I mentioned Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. I do think they come out and play really strong. For the Edmonton Oilers, Nathan MacKinnon, I think, is a must play tonight for the Colorado Avalanche. And then it's the players from the Winnipeg Jets that I love the most. Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, and Josh Morrissey. That is definitely the three players that I trust the most out there on the ice tonight. Again, there's going to be the revenge angle for Farabee and Morgan Frost and Kuzmenko versus their former teams. And then to bring Cat there for the Red Wings for his points tonight. I think he comes in nice and solid. But you guys, that is everything here on Pocket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV on X on the daily. I appreciate you guys so very much for joining me. If you can hit that like, hit that retweet button, as well as subscribe over on YouTube, I'd greatly appreciate it. My cup of Jo needs a bounce back today after the hardwood just crushed me yesterday in college basketball, but there is a ton of games, ton of things that I am liking. So stay tuned for that cup of Jo, as well as stay tuned to the SportsGrid app for that Madden quickie. We will get on track with that as well, you guys. All the best in all of your bets. I think my favorite bet tonight is on the Edmonton Oilers. God, I hate to say that. The Winnipeg Jets and the Edmonton Oilers, my favorite teams of the night. They better not both lose and let me down. If Edmonton does, it's just an Edmonton style to let me down when I expect them to come out nice and hot. Again, remember, they haven't played at home forever, but we've seen teams step up when they're returning home after this break. So I do think it's a strong suit for Edmonton first period over 1.5 goals at plus 160. I can't believe it. I still keep looking at my notes. I wrote it down. I got to go bet it, you guys. Don't forget to get that bet in. All the best in all of your bets. Again, stay tuned, please, to X and YouTube for any goalie changes and anything that I'm going to be jumping ship on, any goalies. And I'm going to be looking at that game between the Sharks and the Sabres for those goalie props. So stay tuned for that, where I'm going to go in that game as well. You guys, all the best in all of your bets. We'll see you back here noon Eastern tomorrow. Smaller slate on deck, so faster show. We'll see you then. Hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies.